I don't want to say anything. Well, if I didn't, then I would have nothing to talk about. I don't want to say anything, but I think I've determined and figured out what is causing the doldrums for the Giants since 2011, basically. I think I figured it out. And it took me a while. It took me some time. And it's simple. It truly is this simple. It's true. I mean,
this place is cursed.
What is it with you and curses? I ain't happy without a good curse. This is cursed. That is cursed.
It's the curse of Eli Manning. Those in the powers that be screwed Eli out of his Iron Man streak. Put in a Geno Smith because they said they want to go with a young quarterback to see what the young quarterback had. Didn't go with the quarterback we drafted. But then at the end of the day, we screw with Eli Manning. So Eli Manning says we are now cursed. When is she sending me here? Let's see. I'm working here. My wife's sending me stuff. But we're cursed. We are cursed. Armando, I don't want to say, I love Armando's comment, but I love this because he says that color looks ugly on you. You know what, Armando?
You know what the difference is between you and me? I make this look good.
I can't help it, man. I look good in Green Bay green. I put it on, and I'm like, damn, son, that Xavier McKinney jersey looks good on you. So we got the Browns today. Also got a lot of new features coming up on the show today, so make sure you stay tuned. So we're gonna have a lot of fun stuff. And as always, we're gonna do guess the score. Nobody won last week. You're gonna get the Eli Manning replica Super Bowl ring if you get the score correctly. But we're also gonna add in a little bonus, a little bonus feature here, and that is we're gonna be giving away one of the Giants' 100th anniversary, whatever these things are called, coins. We're gonna throw that in. Throw that in as well because no one ever fucking wins. So we're going to hopefully try and get some people to win today. Mike Lee says, good morning, Smash fellow Colt members. Smash the like button on the way in. This is a right game, but for whom? I have a feeling it's a right game for Cleveland. I have this weird suspicion that this is a right game for Deshaun Watson. I don't know why, but I just have this feel. We're not doing the scores yet, OG Knockout. We're not doing the scores and Taylor, we're not doing the scores yet. They don't count until the last 15 minutes of the show. So all scores will be negated until that last 15 minutes. Blackbird says, good morning, Tim. All Giants gear should be free with the way we play. That's why I went Packers. I also want to talk about the quarterbacks a little bit coming up in this draft. I was texting OGR Sports yesterday. And it was funny, though, because we were texting back and forth, and he's like, who do you like this year in the draft? Coming up in this college draft. And he's like, you like Cam Ward? He's like, I bet you like Cam Ward. And I said, honestly, I've been leaning towards a little bit towards more Carson Beck. And as I'm saying this, Cam Ward dropped a 70-yard touchdown pass last night against South Florida and looked really good. So it was weird because he had some nice fluidity in the pocket. He moved well. South Florida is not what I would refer to as a top 25 powerhouse this year. But he did look good. And you have three wide receivers that are basically Biletnikoff eligible on the award on Miami. So it's kind of like, could I be making some of these throws? If you put Cam Ward on South Florida, is Cam Ward? Hell, let's say you put Cam Ward on Washington. The university, not the team. How would he look on? Oh, he was there for a while. Matthew says, good morning, Tim. Good morning, OBB family. Mr. Bruce says, I've changed my opinion in the Hall of Fame. I looked at the previous people inducted and realized not everyone had that dominance either. And I think we did a whole Hall of Fame conversation last live stream, and it was really good. It was one of those last minute streams, so we didn't have a huge audience. But we got a lot of reviews, and which is nice, though, because we really did have a really good conversation, not just about Eli Manning Hall of Fame, but the Hall of Fame in general. And how I think Eli is a Hall of Famer. I don't know if he would get in on the first ballot, but I do think he should probably get on the first ballot. But and we went through some of the names, and it was actually funny. Someone emailed me yesterday and said, yes, he is a Hall of Famer, but I don't think he's better than Kenny Stabler. And then I had, he says Kenny Stabler was the best quarterback in the 70s. And I had to remind him some of the other quarterbacks in the 70s that were Roger Staubach, Fran Darkington, a couple guys that were ahead of Kenny Stabler. But Kenny Stabler, like I said, if Kenny's in, then you got to go. You got to go, Eli. Xavier McKinney jersey, you're not a real Giant fan. I'm going to say it before, Blackbird.
You know what the difference is between you and me? I make this look good.
Can't help it, bro. Can't help it, man. Hey, Skyline, what's up? Everything's going on. Blackbird also says that. Take that Green Bay jersey off now. Never. Never. It's Xavier McKinney, man. So many people, and I'm not saying you, Blackbird, but so many people dislike when other players go to other teams. We didn't even offer McKinney a contract. We didn't offer Barkley a contract. So they left to go to another team. It's not going to be, and it's funny. Everyone disavows Saquon Barkley, but when Daniel Jones had a bad game that first week against Minnesota, who was one of the first people outside the Giants organization to call him? Not his mother. I'm trying to think. Not his father. Oh, it was Saquon Barkley. Giants need the Browns defensive playbook. The Giants need the Browns defensive players. Daniel says, good morning, all. Jackson says, whoa, I can't believe my eyes. Tim is in a Packers jersey. I own Packers stock. I've said this before. I own Packers stock. One of the first teams my father liked as a child. And as he grew up and he moved around, he became a Giant fan in his teens. I wouldn't say his teens. I think he was early 20s, became a Giant fan. He was a Green Bay Packer fan. Bart Starr, Paul Hornung, all those guys. He was a Packer fan. 2 Super Bowls, Vince Lombardi, certain magic still lingers in the name. 2 safety highs are becoming more common and try to counter McVay Shanahan offense, which is working because offense is down 5%. Didn't I say that last week? I think I might have mentioned that last week that everyone's playing 2 safety high. They're playing both safeties back. I mentioned that Zach Attack. Zach Attack was also our scout yesterday at the West Virginia game. Mr. Bruce says it's just a jersey, y'all. Mr. Bruce gets it. I can't even tell you. I have in my office, I have the light set up on this light stand. And what I did is it goes across the entire side of the office. And what I did is I literally took all my jerseys and stuff, and I'm just hanging them there. So I literally have a plethora of jerseys over there. How's the Ninja? The Ninja is actually very good. It makes the bacon very crispy. Mr. Weaver says, what's up, Mr. Weaver? What's up, Tim? Whoa, Green Bay Packers. But watch, today, I won't be shocked if Sean Watson turns in to Houston Watson. This staff only happens to be I think the Packers running game, the running backs, I would not say are spectacular. They do have a lot of skill position guys in reference to wide receivers, but they're just not playing up to par. And I think that has to do a lot of it with the quarterback. I think their offensive line is okay. Their defensive line it can be spectacular at times. Their defense before going into the season was actually ranked by many as should be the number 1 overall defense. I think they're 6th right now. I think if our defensive backs have issues with the skill position guys in Green Bay, the skill position guys in with the Browns, I think it's going to be a long day. If we don't get any type of rush from the Ghost Brothers,
submitted for your approval. The Ghost Brothers. Nobody needs to be afraid.
If we don't get any rush from the Ghost Brothers, we're going to be screwed. Joe Rev says, good morning, Mr. Online Big Blue, sir, and the G-Man family. Matthew says, you do you, Tim. I always do me, man. You know what the best thing about being me is? Being me. Miguel says, good morning, Tim. OG, what's up, Tim? What's good? Everything's good. Mr. Jackson says, Tim, got that shit on through. Got that shit on though. Yeah, oh, shit, man. This is Packer. This is the team you emulate to be. Outside of that dead era between Mikowski and Favre, and this is who you aspire to be, the Packers. Eli Manning got bailed out by Odell in his last years. I keep forgetting, Blackburn, and maybe you can help me remember. How many Super Bowl rings does Odell have with the Giants? I might have to Google that later. Taylor B says 21-17 Browns. That's gonna hit watch. OG says 27-13. The scores don't count yet to the last hour. Matthew says we got a loss. Each win means it's more likely we stuck with DJ another 4 years. We better not be stuck with DJ another 4 years. What happened to Archie Manning? What happened to Arch? Arch threw some interceptions yesterday. Did the bloom come off the Archie Manning rose already? I don't think so. I think what just happened was he is still basically a freshman quarterback, but he's not really a freshman quarterback. We know that. But why is my magic mouse? Is my magic mouse not working? Wait, hold on. What is this? Do the hustle. Hold on, I gotta check my mouse. Oh, what do we got here? Mike Lee also says it's because our secondary sucks as well as the run defense. Our secondary doesn't suck. I'm going to say that right now. The secondary does not suck. It's just young and inexperienced and lacking talent in certain positions. I mean, we're anointing Phillips the next great nickel. Can we get him like at least 6 games before teams start picking on him? I'm just asking, because we do this. We do this here. We get so enamored by somebody that we don't really look at everything that he does. We're just like I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we get so high, and maybe it's just because of the fact that we've been bad for so long, and that we just want to have something be good. And a lot of times we're not allowed to have nice things. Bruce says, I like what I'm seeing from Cam Ward so far. I want to see how he does against better competition. My problem with Cam Ward is this, and it's always going to be this right now. He was okay in Washington. He goes to Miami, where Miami's got a plethora of talent. And like I said, on the nominee list, Miami has 3 on the Biletnikoff list, wide receivers. So is Cam Ward now going to be more of a product of the talent around him in Miami and the Miami system? What happens to Cam Ward if I put him on South Florida? That's what I keep thinking. Rob is banned, according to Tim. He might be banned. We're gonna talk about that later too. We're gonna talk about that. The King, OGR Sports, OGR. You gotta love OGR, man. We chat all the time. Let's see what we got here. Eli washed up after 2015. We held on to him way too long. They should have let him go after the 17 season. They should have left him go after the 15 season, to be honest. I told you that last game on New Year's Eve, that 1:00 game against the Washington Redskins, the New Orleans Darkwa game, we all stayed. We all literally stayed in the stadium because we thought we were drafting a quarterback next year, and that was going to be Eli Manning's last year. Didn't turn out that way. I don't want the Giants to draft a black quarterback, Tim. What about a Chinese quarterback? Can we draft a Chinese quarterback? Would that be okay? I understand what you're thinking in reference to that. And we've talked about that if the Giants do draft a black quarterback, and that quarterback is probably going to be held at a different standard. And we've talked about it before. Will that quarterback get the same cachet, the same leeway that Daniel Jones got for 6 years? The answer is probably going to be no. Whoa, no Archie Manning. Tim, Mr. McCormick, what's going on, Tim? You still don't like Sanders? No, I still don't like Sanders. I don't. I mean, I don't. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of his attitude. I'm not a big fan of his brother's attitude either on the team over in Colorado. I think he has talent, but You know, Roy Hobbs' father told Roy the talent's not enough. You know, and it's not that I don't think he's a good kid, but I just think he's kind of got this. He's got this way about him. Yeah, I know he's got 11 touchdowns and 2 interceptions and already thrown for 1,300 yards. But he's just got this demeanor about him. And that game, that last game against what was it, Colorado? Not the last game, the second last game against Colorado State. You know, where he basically, I understand there was a Instagram war and all that, but he kind of dissed the other quarterback. And that's you're beating Colorado State. That's Bush. I'm sorry. That's Bush League in my mind. And who have you played? North Dakota State, Nebraska, Colorado State, and Baylor. And he played in Nebraska, got blown out, and had a terrible game, completing only 60% of his passes, 244 yards, a touchdown, and interception. You know, I mean, he's not a guy. Again, he takes, if you take a look at the Baylor game yesterday, I think he ran the ball for like 19 times for 26 yards. I think there's better talent out there besides Sanders. I'm not a big pick on Sanders. Pick the best quarterback available. Well, hopefully it's someone good. That's my fear. Georgia quarterbacks, the majority of them on their team are pro caliber players. Oh, I agree with Carson Beck as well. I mean, you got a lot of pro caliber guys, but you also have a lot of guys that were on pro caliber teams that did succeed. Yes. But Carson Beck has at least been with the same team. He's maturated through the system, and he's gotten better each year. And like I said, I'm not down on Cam Ward. I'm just like I said, maybe I haven't seen enough of him play, because he looked great yesterday. Like I said, I was talking to OGR. I literally sent OGR a message, and I was like, I kind of like Carson Beck right now. And then what does Cam do? He throws a 77-yard touchdown pass with like a minute 44 left in the first. In the first half. It was crazy. And then I keep watching. I'm like, well, this kid's pretty good. That one touchdown that got put on back on the one, I was like, that was a beautiful throw. Eli Manning, 2016, 36 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, Pro Bowl level. He made the Pro Bowl that year. We had a blown lead that year as well. You know what the problem is that year? I was talking to James Williams. You know what the problem with the year where we bought the playoffs? We literally went out and bought a playoff appearance. You got 3 starters. You got Olivia Vernon, you got Snacks, and you got Jackrabbit. You got 3 starters on your defense. 3 of your 11 guys had Pro Bowl caliber seasons. It was just, we kind of went down the front. It didn't Primetime say Sanders wouldn't sign if he was drafted by the Giants? Yeah, and that's another thing. I like Deion, man. I like Deion. I think Deion was great coming out of Florida State. I think he was great when he was in Atlanta. Hated him when he was in Dallas. But Deion, Deion was different than his son. Deion as a corner was electric, and he backed up everything he said. I can't really think of many bad games Deion had in college. His son has had a couple, and against not top flight competition. Eli missed the playoffs a lot in his career, though. Yes. Who has more playoff wins? Who has more road playoff wins than his brother? I forget. There was a whole list of things that Eli has more of than Peyton and other quarterbacks. You got to remember this. Not every team makes the playoffs, and only 2 teams make the Super Bowl out of 32. And between 2007 and 2011, Eli had 2 and 2 MVPs. Your name is Armando. Hello, Armando. OG says a black quarterback won't get the same treatment as Daniel Jones if he goes 2 years. I don't know if any quarterback now is going to get that same cachet as Daniel Jones did. Omega Supreme says, what's up? Ward and McKinney had interceptions last week. McKinney also had an interception the first week. So he's had 2 interceptions now in 2 games. Just throwing it out there. Nah, Tim, I'm just trying. I know, Ben Blackburn. I'm just joking. What's up, Greg? How you doing, my brother? Zach Attack says the Giants are a farm team for the NFL. We develop players for all 31 teams, and the Panthers don't count. 32 teams and the Panthers don't count. I missed it. I should have read that first. Yeah, this is going to be a good indication of what we are right now. This is going to be a really good idea. Let's see. Let's go to the Giants Browns injury reports. Let's see who's out, because Cleveland had a plethora of injuries. Cleveland had a shit ton of injuries yesterday. Let's see here. We got the injury report. I know Joko is not going to play. And so is, what's his name? Pierre Strong Jr. is not going to play as well. Let me see who else is available or unavailable. But looks like they got a lot of full participants yesterday. Conklin was questionable. It was funny. The right tackle and left tackle were both questionable heading into Sunday's matchup. But Conklin was also questionable week 1. Let's see here. Let's see. Willis is out week 1 and 2. Conklin was a full participant on Wednesday and Thursday. Willis was limited participant as well. It's going to be interesting. It's Myles Garrett is more who I'm worried about. He's evidently, what sucks about Myles Garrett? He has injuries in both feet, but somehow he had a sack each game. He had the strip sack, and then he had a sack. Well, didn't have a sack, but what's his name? The other guy went and got the sack that caused the safety last week. Brian Burns is also listed as questionable, but they're saying that he is going to play. He's got the groin injury. Hopefully they'll keep him on a pitch count, because if you tear your groin and you do something shit like that, then that could potentially be very bad for us, and we don't want that to happen. Let's see. Greg Joseph, of course, also is going to be the new kicker. He's surprisingly, of course, not surprising, but he's replacing Graham Gano, so that'll be nice. So we can actually have a kicker. Ward played in 67 regular season games, 4 postseason games for Cleveland, Tennessee, and Minnesota. He spent time also with Tampa, Miami, and Green Bay. So let's see. He has a career 100 field goals, 121 attempts, 82.6, 146 out of 162 on extra points. That's not good at all, is that? 146 out of 162. That's not good. His best season was 3 years ago with the Vikings with 135 points. Tied for 6th most points in the NFL. Brian Burns is good to go, they're saying, so that's good. So Conklin is out. He was downgraded to out. Let's see here. Willis is going to be back. The right tackle is going to be back. Myles Garrett is not on the injury report, so that's bad for us. Nick McLeod did not make the trip. He's dealing with the injuries, of course. Let's see here. So the Giants aren't going to be too bad off. It's not like we're not going to have a full complement of players. We got a couple guys banged up here and there. You got to keep an eye on Burns. But of all that being said, Lord knows what's going to fucking happen. Eric says, good morning. All Blackbird says, I used to be a Packers fan. I still have the 2010 championship DVD, and I have an Aaron Rodgers jersey. You're a traitor. How dare you talk about the Green Bay Packers on this team? Xavier McKinney is balling out, man. I've watched both Packers games. Greg says, I have to jump ship to the Texans. It's so funny because you got a lot of people that are jumping ships to different teams this year. I'm still a Giant fan. It's like people say, well, I'm a big basketball fan, but I also watch the Sixers, but I like the Knicks. But Armando says, I am done with Dino Trash Can. Matthew said, I heard before, Zach, I'm a Rays fan. I can assure you Giants are not a farm team for the NFL. They can't develop or identify talent properly. Coaching sucks as well. Mr. Bruce says, Tim, do I start with Malik Neighbors this week? That is a good. Who's your other wide receivers though? Who else do you have in the who else? See, here's the thing. The Browns defense is a good defense. Yeah, they gave up all those points to Dallas week 1. They basically locked down the Jags. It's one of those things you get that defense, and their pass rush is not suspect. They got a good pass rush. You get that defense. Here's the thing. This is what's going to be interesting about this game. Week 1 against an average defensive line for the Minnesota Vikings, our offensive line had trouble. Gave up 5 sacks. I think 3 of those were more on the quarterback because he ran into the defensive players. Last week, I think we gave up 1 sack, and again, he ran into the guy. If we sit there if they get any type of extended pass rush on Daniel Jones, he's going to fold like a cheap tent. And the problem with Daniel Jones is, and we've said this a million times before, it's adversity. We've talked the famous Johnny Utah line, not Johnny Utah, the famous Shane Falco line. It's like playing in quicksand. When one thing goes wrong, then another, then another, then another. That's Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is Shane Falco. The only difference is Daniel Jones ain't getting the girl at the end of the movie. He is Shane Falco. Because if one thing goes wrong with Daniel Jones, it goes like this. Eli Manning throws an interception. He could throw an interception in the fourth quarter with 4 minutes left. Defense gets the ball. And then all of a sudden, Eli Manning flips the switch. And at one point in time, Eli Manning had the most comeback wins in NFL history, most comeback fourth quarter wins in NFL history. It was crazy to watch. And as we bash Eli a lot on that last Pat Shurmur season, which I think is funny, the 2018 season, the Giants finished 5-11. Eli Manning still threw for 4,299 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, but the Giants only won 5 games. Here's the problem with that. Out of those 11 losses, Eli Manning drove the Giants back into the game to take the lead with under 2 minutes left 5 times. Think about that. He under 2 minutes left. He gave the Giants a lead 5 times. That's in 2018. The defense blew all those games. You go 4-1 in those games. You know what that Shurmur season turns into? And I think about this a lot. You've won 4 of those games. You're a 9-win team. You're 9-7. You could potentially make the playoffs, and we don't draft Daniel Jones. That's why I keep telling people I'm really beginning to think hard about this.
This place is cursed.
I think it's cursed. I think we're cursed because of what we did to Eli. Not only with the benching with the doo-doo, but with Shurmur in that last season. I'm really beginning to think we're cursed. I think the only way to break this curse is to turn around and have Eli get into the Hall of Fame. Zach, thank you for the super chat. James Betcher lost the 2018 season. They did. We lost, and people feel yeah, we only won 5 games. But here's the thing. Out of those 5 games, like I said, Eli brought them Giants back to take the lead with under 2 minutes left. Now, yes, one of them is the Graham Gano 63-plus yard field goal. Yes. But still, 5 times he did it, and 5 times the Giants lost. You figure you drive down, you got this shit wrapped up, and then what happens? Well, you know what? We all know what happens. Danny, year 6 Dud says his name sounds like a franchise quarterback. Whose name sounds like a franchise quarterback? Who did I miss? All Alabama bottom. They're cursed. They're cursed. We're cursed. I keep thinking of that. Let's see here. Cam kind of balled out at Washington State, threw for nearly 4,000 yards last year, 65 touchdowns, 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions on a bad team with still no skill players. Oh, I'm not saying he's not a good quarterback. I'm just saying, are his stats this year a little bit more inflated because of the fact that he's got 3 Biletnikoff wide receivers, 3 Biletnikoff nominated wide receivers on his team? That's all I'm asking. That's, like I said, I kind of like Carson Beck. Carson Beck he's got that stature, 6'4", 225 pounds. The quarterback. He looks like the quarterback. You go into the dictionary, you turn the pages, you look up NFL quarterback, you see a picture of Carson Beck. I like Cam Ward because I also like a mobile quarterback. I am thinking the NFL itself is going with a mobile quarterback who has the ability to get out and escape the rush. So your line, yes, you still need a high quality line, but if you have a suspect line and you have a mobile quarterback and he's of average NFL size, not Kyler Murray, you have an opportunity at that point in time to then have the ability to do something different. And that's all I'm saying. I don't want anyone to think I'm against Cam Ward. I'm not against Cam Ward. I'm not against Cam Ward at all. T. Brad is in his house saying Ward or Sanders. Give me Ward or Sanders. I would take Ward over Sanders. If you order a Supreme Pizza, but they deliver a plain cheese pizza, have you been Daniel Jones? Injuries did hinder his career. You're 100% right. Danny Dunn says, Tim, your thoughts on Hyatt wanting to be traded? He said it was false, but I think that has some truth in the report. Evidently, the thing with Hyatt was he said something. He's trying to say which I laughed though because a little Caesars thing just popped up. He said, well, that was last year. I don't want to be traded. Yeah, why would the guy want to be traded? Never gets on the field. I mean, you got Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson ahead of you. And not that not those guys are bad players, but it's like if you're Jalen Hyatt, you're like, I got Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton ahead of me, and I can't leapfrog over these motherfuckers. That's what Hyatt's probably. I'm not saying that's what Hyatt was probably thinking to himself, and I think it's a lot more of frustration that you can't show your wares if you can't get on the field. Wide receivers have been dropped like 100 yards and a couple touchdowns. Amari has been awful. Yeah, Njoku was hurt, but they got the other tight end. They got the other guy with the Packers. That's actually with the Packers. So I keep thinking Packers. I keep looking at myself seeing the Packers. Like, damn, I gotta get to the Packers. There's a couple other guys that on Cleveland that are actually pretty good. The running game is not horrid, but I do think they are going to still challenge. I've said this before, guys. I'm going to keep saying this over and over again. This is an easy way. The beating the Giants is very simple. I have been saying this since training camp. Just run at Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeaux. Just run right at him. Don't run around him. Don't run to the middle. Just keep running off tackle until they stop it. Because once you get in that second level, you have Bobby Okereke. Yes, McFadden had a good game. And here's my problem. How many of those McFadden tackles were in the second level? Just ask Brian Robinson Jr. because he was mainly the one that was tackling them. The one thing I always loved former Green Bay Packer Blake Martinez, because Blake made the tackles around the line of scrimmage. He did. That was the great thing, especially with having him with Dalvin Tomlinson and Dexter Lawrence. You had a guy in the back that mopped up, and Blake mopped up extremely well that one year. And I don't see the likes of McFadden being that kind of guy that mops up. So we got to kind of wait and see. We got to kind of wait and see what happens. But if I am the Browns, I'm just going to take, what's his name? I'm going to take, I'm not worried about Pierre Strong not playing because you still have Ford there. You got Foreman there as well. I'm running Foreman and Ford right at the defense. I'm running right at the teeth of the defense, right at their proverbial strong points. And you got to remember what it says. Jordan Akins. Jordan Akins is the other tight end that he's gonna be fine. If the late great Zach Ertz, I know he's not dead, but he's 497 years old, can get 4 receptions for 64 yards against the interior of this defense. Jordan Akins, who's actually kind of a player, but a lot of people don't talk about, is going to just wreck this team. And then you still have Jerry Jeudy. You still have Elijah Moore. You still have Amari Cooper. You still have David Bell. You even have freaking Cedric Tillman still on this team. I forgot all about Cedric Tillman still being on this team. Oh, you know what? We got a new feature today that we're going to bring in. And I want to make sure, I'm going to make sure he's going to get set up and get ready because we need to have this full report here. We're going to go with this new feature coming in live, giving us the lowdown on the weather reports from Cleveland. It's going to be the OBB weatherman, Anthony, the online big
Hey, how's it going? I'm just getting over a little bit of a cold, so
no one fucking cares.
I got my Saquon jersey.
You got your Saquon jersey on, and I got the Packer jersey on. What is wrong with these people?
Well, what's wrong with who?
You.
Oh.
Not me.
It was funny because I'm in Starkville, Mississippi now, and when was it Monday night? Yeah, after Monday night, going into school Tuesday morning, I wore my Saquon shirt and I got a couple looks like, what's this guy? Does this guy know what's going on? I'm like, yeah, no, Saquon helped the Giants last night.
He helped the Giants. That's what, what a lot of people don't understand that, and I think that kind of upsets me. Saquon, it wasn't all Saquon, but Saquon helped give the Giants a chance in the division by having the Eagles lose. It was great.
I mean, our vibes would have been much better if we had a kicker and actually won the game on Sunday. Like, we would be like, oh, we're 1-1. We're in first place in the division, and now it's kind of just the opposite.
It's the doldrum. So Anthony, what's the weather in Cleveland? What are we looking at here? What's the barometer?
Yeah, the barometer. I don't know the sea level pressure, but basically there's a cold front out to the west, and that's keeping the cold temperatures out west. And Cleveland's going to be much warmer than normal today. I should have looked up their record high temperature, but they're going to be in the lower 80s today, and some spots in Ohio is actually they're going to be in the mid 90s. So it's very hot out there. I think they're actually going to be some record warm temperature set.
Is there any rain in the forecast?
They had there's whenever they say like a 2% chance, that's what the app said. And when I was looking at it, this is 0. It's going to be mostly sunny and warm.
So if we have this mostly sunny, warm day in Cleveland, does this give the advantage to any one of the teams?
Honestly, my go-to if I'm betting anything is just the under. Like whenever the Giants play, like I'm just betting the under. No matter, I think the over/under is 38.5. No matter what the weather is, no matter if it's snowing, rain, or sunny, that's the side that I lean towards. I mean, I think Myles Garrett's out, right? He has
Myles Garrett's playing. He is playing. He's got 2 injured feet. He's played both weeks with the injured feet. He has said he is playing the rest. He may require surgery at the end of the season, but he is playing the rest of he's playing the rest of the way.
No, it's tough to think because every time I think that like Daboll is going to try to air it out, play a little bit different, they ended up just doing the same old boring thing. I really don't think – I think the Cleveland's going to have really good defense. We're going to struggle to score points. And I think Deshaun Watson's going to look really good today.
Do you think – we've talked about this before. Do you think – we're trying to sit there and go, is this a get-right game for the Giants? I have this fear that it's a get-right game for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. It was kind of depressing last week because I'm trying to make some money because I'm still a college student. I'm a graduate student. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go on DoorDash and just kind of listen to the game passively. Just be happy and make a little bit of money rather than sit through and watch it. But it feels like teams' offenses just, kind of click when they play against us.
If you are the Cleveland Browns, you are the Cleveland Browns, and everyone knows I've given my opinion multitudes of times how I think you beat the Giants. If you're Cleveland, how does the Cleveland's offense attack the Giants defense?
Okay, man, it's a little bit too. It's 9:30 Starkville time, and I was up late. So how do they attack our offense? I mean, they have 2 good running backs, and I mean, if you run towards Dexter Lawrence and just double team him, I mean, I think Elijah Chapman's small, and I don't think we have another good defensive tackle. And obviously, Burns and Kayvon struggle to set the edge. So I mean, if you get the class, you could get the ground game going, and then Deshaun Watson, if he throws a good pass or two. I heard that he struggled deep passing this year, but get the run game going.
For the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's fair. I really don't. Man, it's kind of weird. I don't know what happened with him. It wasn't an injury. It was just that like he was a weirdo, and then all of a sudden, I don't.
Well, you get sued by 40 plus women for improprieties. I think. No. I think you might have a couple things on your mind.
Yeah, honestly, like I kind of want to just see Jameis Winston because we know what we're gonna get with Jameis Winston, but at least it'll be kind of fun to watch. With Deshaun, it's kind of sad in a way. Like Jameis is gonna throw it all over the place, fumble it, throw a bad pick. I kind of just want Jameis to play rather than Deshaun. I guess I don't know.
I don't know. What is your final prediction for scoring here? What's your final prediction for this game?
So the over/under is 38.5. I think Cleveland's gonna put about 20. The Giants will put about 13. And then so that's about the spread. It's 6.5, right?
Yeah, 6. Vegas right now has it at 6.5.
Yeah, so they'll put about 20. We'll put about 13 if our field goal kicker is good because Graham Gano's out. We have a new guy in, right?
We have Joseph who's bounced around the league for about 6-7 years now.
Oh, yeah.
His last extended period of time was within I think it was 18 with Minnesota, where he was 6th in the league in points. So I think that's always good. I mean, if let's just say we lose today. Let's just say we lose 0-3, short week. Dallas at home.
Oh yeah.
Do you keep Daniel Jones in?
I mean, is Drew Lock like healthy? I know he's 100%, right?
Drew Lock is he is not on. He hasn't been on the injury report in 2 weeks. He is healthy.
I know the noise is getting hotter. The noise is getting hotter. The noise is getting louder. I don't know. Because then the injury guarantees and the whole deal. I think it's a little bit too early for that. I mean, it's gonna get worse before it gets better, if anything. So it's not like, oh, we play a couple cupcakes coming up.
We're 0-2. How does it get worse? They're gonna just give us an extra loss this week.
Trust
Hey,
me,
you're getting 2 losses this week.
Yeah, I'm a Mississippi State fan. I went to the game yesterday. We played Florida, and no, it gets worse. It gets worse.
It does get worse. It does get worse. Well, Anthony, I want to thank you for dropping in.
We have to mention Charles Cross.
Go ahead, mention. All right, I'm going to give you your Charles Cross moment. Go ahead. Hold on. I'm going to sit up for this. All right, go ahead. Let's get your Charles Cross moment.
I said the Giants should draft Charles Cross. This is before I was a student at Mississippi State. I'm the leader of Charles Cross Nation.
You are?
Evan Neal, I mean, I guess he didn't lose. He really lost the job. Like, Illuminor outplayed him. Even though he was injured, he lost the job in his third year.
He's still hurt, Evan Neal.
He is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he would have lost the job anyway. And Kemba Kwonu, he's not part of the Panthers, and he's not part of the reason for success. And Charles Cross, no pressures, no sacks in the 2 weeks. He has like a 95 PFF grade. He won my Survivor, helped win my Survivor week 1. And, Charles Cross, the Giants should have drafted him. And we'd be in a better position.
Anthony, because we would have no wins instead of no wins with Charles Cross right now.
Now, to be fair, I think he's more of a left tackle because I don't think he's a really good run blocker. And I think you need your right tackle to be a little bit more of a run blocker.
Charles Cross he excels at pass blocking 100%. And I think he's not a bad run blocker. He's just a little light as a run blocker. He's not a bad run blocker.
And sometimes it takes a couple years to gain that weight to actually, to get that NFL weight, even though he's a part of the SEC.
No, I agree. Like I said, I 100% agree with you with your Charles Cross assessment.
It was luck because all of our good draft takes. I thought Joseph Osai was the greatest thing, and then all of a sudden he's he's on the Bengals, but he doesn't even get any playing time. So there's winners and losers. There's
always winners and losers, and Giants usually are the losers here. But you know what? We got a shot. Yeah. I think we got a shot today.
Okay, no, that's what we said last week, and I thought we were going to win against Minnesota. So,
listen, my new strategy for picking the Giant games is I'm going to say every game's going to be a win.
Yeah,
because at least 5 times I'm going to have to be right.
Yeah, no, I guess Daboll's, even though some of his decisions have been perplexing. He's not a bad coach. I think he's just working with not the best ingredients. Like, if you don't have a good quarterback, I mean, everything else kind of falls out from there. I mean, he can only get so much out of what he has. I mean, there's a ceiling there. I mean, I'm trying to find another comparison, but I mean, the greatest coaches in the world, like even with Shanahan when he had Nick Mullins. I mean, Nick Mullins looked good, but there was like a ceiling to that. There's only
you could tell that Nick Mullins wasn't going to. You could tell Brock. What's funny? You could tell Brock Purdy had a higher ceiling than Nick Mullins.
I disagree. Oh, well, maybe those 49ers teams with Nick Mullins weren't that good anyway. They weren't really.
No, they actually weren't what they are now. But I do think that Brock Purdy has a little bit more of an NFL pedigree in reference to what he can do over Nick Mullins, because Nick Mullins is still in the NFL, but I doubt Nick Mullins is going to get many more opportunities to lead a team.
Who would have thought we'd move the conversation to Nick Mullins? That was my fault. I don't know.
That's all right, but I got to drop you off because I have to let this guest come in because he's already smiling. We had Anthony the Weatherman coming in. I appreciate it. And yes, he is the leader of Charles Cross's Nation. As always, Anthony, thank you. Hopefully see you again next week for the weather. No, it's not next week. We don't have one next week because it's on Thursday. Hopefully we get a W today.
Thanks for inviting me on.
All right, Anthony, thank you. I gotta add the man, the myth, the legend, James Williams, coming in strong. Coming in like there's no tomorrow. Got the Mets jersey on. Let's go, Mets go. The problem is this. I think it's Tuesday that the season really counts because we're playing Atlanta.
Well, we had to put ourselves in a position for Tuesday to even matter. So, you know.
Well, no, we're already ahead of Atlanta.
Well, now we are, but like 2 weeks ago we weren't.
Yeah, but if we screw this shit up in Atlanta, I mean, it could get bad. It could get bad real quick.
No, but it's a place to exercise the demons.
We're gonna exercise. I've said this before, and I said this to James. We're gonna exercise the demons of Tommy Glavine. And we are going to make sure that we get away from Tommy Glavine right now. So
yeah.
right
I mean,
now,
there's no better place. There's no better place to go to, you know, Atlanta. Why not?
Right now, the Mets are 2 games above the Braves. So we got to take these games. I mean, we don't take these games. I mean, you want to talk about the postseason right now? This is I think it's Tuesday. That's going to be the postseason right now for the Mets.
Yes.
I mean, they.
But to be fair, we've been in kind of postseason mode the last 2 weeks. You know, having to fight and scrap, and every game matters. So we've been gearing up for this moment.
We've been gearing up for this moment. We are now only 6 games behind the Philadelphia Phillies, which is amazing because we were 14.5 not more than a couple weeks ago. But let's not get into the Mets. You screwed me up with the Mets jersey, so I'm just going to throw this.
It's my team.
You asked me yesterday. You called me yesterday, and you said I need to come on. And will the Giants take Jackson Dart? No, I don't think they will. I'm just looking through some of the chats because I got to make sure comments in because I want to make sure I get also the chat. Eli has more clutch than Peyton in the playoffs. Yes, he was. You asked me, you wanted to come on and you wanted to pontificate about something.
That's a good word.
Well, you know, I like to throw out my college education because it's the only thing it's good for is my vocabulary. I learned nothing else.
Well, first of all, good morning, top of the morning chat. What's up, my brothers and any sisters out there? What's going on? Love y'all. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, excuse me. Good morning, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, Xavier McKinney. I didn't buy a Malik Willis jersey yet because I'm gonna tell you this. And before you get into your thing, after last week's win, his 12 for 14 for 120, 121, 40 yards rushing, and that touchdown, all of a sudden I go on the website after the game and after the Green Bay game, and I laugh because I go on the Green Bay website to get my McKinney jersey. And all of a sudden, there's the number 2 Malik Willis jersey as their top seller.
Well,
I was like, listen, I love the dude, but even I'm not buying a jersey yet. I was like, let's let him get like one more game in before we anoint him. Before I even consider buying that jersey.
Well, that's where capitalism goes. And you know, in this country, with certain things goes too far. It's like guy has a good 5 minutes, and it's like, well, put his jersey on the website, right there next to Love and Aaron Rodgers and Clay Matt, all the greats. You know, but he, you know what? And truth be told, just to put, I don't have to tell you, and I don't have to tell people in the chat because we're smart here. But for a guy to come the path of Malik Willis, to come from Liberty,
Auburn to Liberty,
excuse me, and to get drafted where he was drafted, to get treated how he was treated, to have, senior quarterback on the team, talk about him or inadvertently talk about him, whatever you want to say it, the way he did, to get traded for a 7th round pick, you get traded. I said this to you on the phone yesterday. He got traded from a team to another team that the team that traded him for had that team on their schedule, which means they weren't even thinking about, oh, well, you know, this guy sucks. We're not worried about him. Obviously, they were thinking about playing Love, but look at the irony in that. That's why you got to appreciate life for the little things and pay attention if you keep your eyes open, because he got traded to a team that his former team had on their schedule, which means there was a chance they could be playing him. They weren't worried about that. We're going to see how that decision pans out today, because that's called coming full circle.
That's called karma, and we all know karma's a bitch when she's not on center stage, or maybe when she is as well. I gotta drop in someone else as well. He's gonna be helping co-host a little bit today. Someone you and I talked about yesterday. It's
Big Rob.
It's R0 Beep. Rob, I got a question for you.
What's up, buddy?
Right off the bat, brother. I haven't seen you in a while. We got to let him get prepared. Haven't
Sorry.
seen you in a while. I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So James calls me the other day.
Mhm.
He actually gave you some props. I'm going to ask a question. So you had Chris the Entertainer on your show?
I did, yeah.
Okay, well that's that for Rob.
Yeah, you can't do that. It was actually pretty good. You can't just
James actually said you did a good job having Chris on, and you didn't let him off the hook on some of his non sequiturs in reference to the New York Football Giants.
Indeed, that was the case. Indeed, that was the case.
So
Yeah, I
James
had a-
gave you the bravo for that.
Thank you, James. Yes, he DM'd me and he said, "Hey, man, you did good. You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you always be shaking bash, eh?" Yeah, I had him on. I had Revival on first. I had Chris on because I met Chris was when I first got into this whole Giant stuff. I was a big fan of Chris and Fireside Giants because I had just started watching like Giants content back in like 2020. And Pest was the reason why I even met Chris or is even friends with Chris, from that. So I felt a little bit of a sentimental value to make sure to get him on. But I'm going to have a lot of people on. I'm going to have you on. I'm going to have Ash on. I'm going to have Sal and Monty on, Sarge. I want to have everybody on that had a meaningful interaction with me and Pest and gave us the opportunity to host them on the channel before I have other people on. So I have a list of people that I want to go through that mean something. And it actually starts again this Tuesday. I've got TJ? I believe it's TJ, who was a really good friend with Pest, who's a big time Cowboys content creator. Has gone to combines, spoken with players, worked with I believe ESPN and stuff like that. So he's going to come on and talk about the tidal wave that is coming into town, which is the Dallas Cowboys. Thursday night football. So
Thursday night. So the big question is, when are you having Cop on?
You know what? When Jones gets benched, I'm going to publicly invite him to come onto the show.
Ooh, I like that. I like that, Rob.
And ask him to defend his golden boy now. Listen, after week one, I'll tell you what, because we haven't talked really since then. When week one happened, I was pissed. Like, I was mad because I knew this was what was going to happen. And so I tweeted out and I tagged Carl Banks. And I said, "Hey, Carl, DJ slander, go," is what I literally what I said to him. I tweeted out and I tagged Cop Hizzle and Chuck Knox and somebody else that or whatever. I said, "Hey, defend your fucking golden boy now." You know what I mean? Like, what do you got to say now? Crickets. Nobody responded. But they made little videos and but the O-line and the coaching was bad.
Always the O-line. I gotta get to stay on these questions. Tim, what do you think? What are your thoughts on Pat Leonard, the Giants beat writer? I don't know. I really don't have any thoughts on him, to be honest. I mean, I know he does a podcast. I know that. I know he gave me there was some mention to me on one of his podcasts that was not derogatory, so that's always nice. So yeah,
he's been under a little my fault, brother. He's been under a little fire in the Giants, I guess, media community, because he was the one at one of Daboll's press conferences. He asked him, does he think his job security is in question? And he got a lot of scrutiny for that. They even talked about it on WFAN, out here in New York. For like a whole week about, who's this guy? Why is this writer asking the coach this question after like week 1, week 2? And he asked a question that probably a lot of people wouldn't have been comfortable asking. But if you're a real journalist, writer, media person, I would think you have to ask the tough questions.
Let me
And-
guess. Was it Tiki Barber and Fat Nose Baldy Sean Marash that said he was wrong for that?
There was a few people. Tiki Tiki talked about on his show. I forgot the guy, bald head dude. He's a Jets fan. They talk like a lot of people in WFN. They were talking about it all week because I guess Dabo during the press conference gave like Pat a look, and kind of like stared him down. And I think Carl Banks and Bob Papa addressed it. Like it was actually like somewhat of a big thing in the Giants media community. But Pat, he asked a tough question.
Then at the end of the day, then I like Pat Leonard. Because
Yeah, I mean he
have questions that I like. Zach Attack with the super chat, of course, for Rob. Rob, still love Bryce.
I love him wearing 88, Zach. 88 for life. 88 for life.
And this, of course, is also this is for Rob. As long as it's not Big Pac and Ron Effect.
Oh, I'll never, ever. Listen, if I want to, never mind.
Never mind.
Ron's cool. Ron's cool, though. Ron's cool. Ron's cool people.
OG says Chris and Bad Dog have been wrong about everything they said about the Giants. Super Homer fans, name one thing Chris and Bad Dog have been right about all weight. James, you are more of in tune to.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to Bad Dog in a year, so I can't even tell you what anything has been said.
Bad Dog was right about Joe Judge.
Yeah.
He was right about Joe Judge. I'll give him that. He was told Bad Dog and I had a little back and forth for a year when he actually used to pop up in a good way, back and forth in a good way. How men used to actually have a back and forth in a positive way about Jalen Hurts sucking and him being better than Daniel Jones. So I have to give Bad Dog credit because he did come around on that after about a year where he did admit, on your show, I think we were having a little, and he said, you know what? I was wrong.
It wasn't on my show because the last time I talked to Bad Dog, I told him that I liked Jalen Hurts way more than I liked Daniel Jones. And he of course went into the college quarterback and this and this and this and this and I kept telling him, I said I think Hurts is going to be a much better quarterback than Jones.
I remember that, but there was me and him definitely had a little back and forth in the comments while you were live streaming one time. And I remember vividly because I snapshot it on my old phone and he was like, nah, brother, you know what? You're right. Jalen Hurts is better than Daniel Jones. So I give him props for at least being able to come to the table and admit that he overcooked the rice on the Jalen Hurts thing. And Chris, I'll say this. Chris is one of the first people, Chris the Entertainer, I'll give him his props and say he's one of the first people I ever found on YouTube, even before my brother Tim or Rob or Authentic or anybody. And he's good for stats. He gives a lot of statistical information, but when it comes to opinions and sticking by your word or being able to do what men can't do and being able to say, hey, you know what? I was wrong. He sucks at that. Sucks horribly, really bad. So I'll give him the Joe Judge thing with Bad Dog. Bad Dog I don't think he was a huge fan of Judge, and I do still watch his channel, but they definitely are homers. Just homers, no Simpson.
I don't think there's no doubt about it. Kelvin says, I find Cop Izzle absolutely hilarious. I've been told I'm not a man because I don't like Daniel Jones. Well, that's good again. What do we think of? Was it Brandon Tierney? That was.
Oh, yeah, I think it was him. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Bad Dog went from DJ is a POS to I don't understand why people hate on DJ. Lol, straight up clown. Miles Garrett's having issues with both his feet. Hopefully it slows him down today. Evidently, he's had these feet injuries. He came out and said since a childhood surgery. And for a guy that had a strip sack last week and actually caused the pressure, which caused the safety.
Seems fine to me.
I mean, if the case, I have this pipe right here. So I'm gonna go find Brian Burns and smack him in both of the feet.
Oh, he's
You're gonna Nancy Kerrigan him?
You want to know where Brian Burns is? There he is, right there.
Hold on. What is he doing there?
What is that? What are you holding up, Rob?
He's with the strength and conditioning coach right there. Let me back it up a little bit.
There you go.
He's with the strength and conditioning coach. Oh, wait. Hold on. Who's this fucking loser right there in the suit? Oh, that must be Joe Shane. Joe Shane, our glorious GM, our skinny head coach, that's and everything like that. But hopefully he's seeing if he's able to go. And that was from Dan Duggan.
He is
tweeted
listed.
that.
He's listed as questionable right now with the groin injury. The groin injury must have come up during the week because he wasn't listed on the injury report, I believe, until Thursday.
No, I think it was because he can't find his balls on the field.
My God.
They've been missing. So
James and I know who he is.
Submitted for your approval. The Ghost Brothers. Nobody needs to be afraid.
The Ghost Brothers will hopefully be in full effect today. I have a question. Now I'll start with James. How over the top will the sack dance celebration be when one of them finally gets a sack? Because we are going into week 3.
Yeah. I was thinking about that because when you said that on one of your reviews of the game in one of your videos, I was really thinking about that, and I was like, damn, it's going to be pretty excessive. It's going to be pretty bad. It's going to be like the first time an F student got like a C+ on a paper, and he's going to like, the parents are going to take him to like Fridays. They're going to get them the Oreo cake, the Oreo brownie, like it's going to be a celebration.
Gotta be Applebee's.
Oh, I'm sorry, Applebee's. We can't even do Fridays. We're gonna do Applebee's.
We don't have that kind of money.
Like Applebee's, 50-cent wings. 50-cent wings.
You gotta get the 5 for 20 or the 3 for 20 deal. Come on now.
You gotta get to,
Happen over there, James. Come on.
It's just remember, I think T-Brad brought this up. They were practicing sack dances in the preseason and talking about what they're gonna do when they, like Wonder Twin powers deactivate. It's like, so it's going to be embarrassing. I'll be honest, because Kayvon has a propensity, even when who was the quarterback that got hurt and he was doing the snowflakes next to him, and he even thank you, and he even looked over at him and then kept doing it. That's when I kind of was like, all right, I wasn't a huge fan of him because I don't like pretty boys, but when he did that as a player, nah, that you don't do that.
Rob, I have a different question for Rob here.
Sure.
The Giants losing 28-7 late in the 4th. Kayvon or Burns gets a sack. They have the over-the-top sack dance. What is your thought process right then and there?
What the fuck are you doing? You're losing the game.
Thank you.
Like I never got that. People like you're down by like 20 fucking points, and it's like in the 4th quarter with like 5 minutes left, you score a touchdown, and you see guys like doing the like.
That's what they're gonna do.
What are you dancing for, bro? You're losing the game. You're getting embarrassed. That score does nothing other than help Vegas in the fucking point spread. Maybe that does nothing. It does nothing for you. Just go in the end zone, grab the ball. You know what we're playing? At least this is how we did it. When we scored a touchdown back when I was playing and we were losing, we took the ball, we walked it back to the sideline. That was it. We didn't celebrate. We didn't do nothing. Like, you're losing the game. You're getting embarrassed.
But you got to have a sack dance.
Yeah, you got to have something to appease some of this people in this fan base, I guess.
Evan says, and this is actually right. Evan says, I actually think Bad Dog was high on Joe Judge in 2021. He was high on him on the 6-10 season after the Seattle game. Yes,
okay.
I will give that. Miles.
Thank you, Evan.
Miles ahead of Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns. You know what? We talked about quarterbacks. I'm going to start with Rob. We talked about quarterbacks in college. I said that I was more interested in Carson Beck because of the fact that he's that prototypical quarterback. He's that 6'4", 200 something pounds. He looks like the quarterback the way he throws. He's got the big arm. He's a quarterback. He's made his progression. Cam Ward has gone from Washington State over to Miami, where he's got 3 Blitnikoff nominees in the wide receiver position. And then I was talking to OGR Sports yesterday, and I said, well, and I'm watching the Miami South Florida game, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I really like Cam Ward that much. And then Cam drops a 77-yard touchdown pass with a minute something left. And And I watched more of that game, and you're like, well, Cam looks really good. And again, it is versus South Florida. But who right now, Rob, in your thought process, because we have to get a quarterback either way next year. I mean, there's got to be something. Who's your forefront guys right now? Your top two guys coming out of college in that venerable quarterback position. But I should rephrase that: venerable quarterback position for the Giants.
It's kind of hard because, one, I don't know if these guys are going to be here, right? If these guys are here and they don't get fired, if he comes out, I could see a guy like Drew Allar being a guy that they look at, 6'5", 245, has a really, really good arm, somewhat good athleticism for his size, isn't afraid to lower his shoulder down and try to make a play running the football, which is something that I think that they like. They had it in Buffalo with Josh Allen. They're trying to do it with a guy, with spinal. I broke my back in Daniel Jones. It's not really working. I think Shedeur Sanders is a guy that also that they would probably look at. My questioning, and this is from Talking Spaces, and this topic has come up, is what type of personality, what type of persona is he going to be without his father, or how much is Deion going to be involved? But I think from an overall standpoint, I see the intangibles there. He can make plays. He can get out of the pocket, reset his feet. There were times where I feel like he tries to do too much, but maybe that could be because of the environment that he's in. The offensive line there is not very good in Colorado. And it's just like, oh, Travis Hunter, where are you? All right. That's pretty much about that. I know everybody's high on Cam Ward right now. He's got a lot of raw talent. He's got a lot of capabilities, no question about it. Miami really hasn't played anybody, but he has been playing some good football. Trust me, I know I'm a Gators fan, and we suck.
Sanders hasn't played anybody really, and then when he went up against Nebraska, he got
smoked.
Yeah. And I think Nebraska right now, I think the big reason with the Nebraska game is they've got some really good interior guys and Hutchmaker and Robinson that really are doing a good job this year, putting and basically just collapsing pockets. And they did a really good job of getting to them. And I think that was a bad matchup to be showcased. And that just really showed how bad Colorado's offensive line was, in that game. So, the last guy I would probably, I got a couple, you could probably look at, I guess Carson Beck obviously is going to be coming out. Some people have, reservations about him. But he's running a pro style offense there. What type of player are you going to get? Is he going to be able to translate over to, to the pros? And then, the last guy is Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is another guy that strong arm, athletic, somewhat big. I think he's like 6'3", 6'4". Hasn't really played anybody. They haven't really had a lot of good competition this year. But he's performing at a high level against bad teams, which is something that you want to dominate bad teams, right? Which is something Cam Ward is doing, which is something that he is doing, which is, something Shedeur is doing. You want to dominate the bad teams. Right now, what we're accustomed to is we play down to bad teams, or we are bad teams, so we don't dominate the bad teams. We play with them. So that's another guy to keep an eye on.
Wait, you're saying Washington's a bad team?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't stutter.
Just want to know about that, James. Who's your quarterbacks? Now you got to remember, this is college quarterbacks for the Giants.
For the Giants. Gotcha. I'm just gonna keep with the same two that I had from last year. And the realism of where we may be picking, because we are going to win some BS games later. That's what we do. I still say Quentin Ewers is somebody that they're going to be looking at from Texas.
I forgot.
He plays at a big school. He's going to be playing against top competition this year. I know he has the injury right now, and I know everybody's excited about Arch, but I've watched Quentin going back to last year. Not perfect polished, but with a guy like Dable, you could shine him up. improve some of his deficiencies. So I think Quentin Ewers is a guy. Plus, he looks the type. And my other guy, my dark horse, and I'm black, I can say this. My dark horse pick is Jalen Milroe, Alabama. I like Shador, but I've gone back to Jalen Milroe from last year, and I've watched him he kind of played last year just using his athleticism. And then this year, I want to see how he developed. It's still early, but I think with his, being strong, he can run around the pocket. I think he's somebody the Giants, given their position, will probably have to look at, because if we do win some BS games, Carson Beck, I know he's the prototype, but unless we have the top 1 or 2 pick, we're not getting him, so I'm not even. It would be nice, to have the top 1 or 2 picks, but I'm thinking Quentin Ewers, Jalen Milroe, and outside shot of them looking at even Shador, because I don't think they're going to want to deal with his pops.
I'll say, if I could, I actually think Quentin Ewers has been outplaying Carson Beck thus far, up until Quentin Ewers got hurt.
I do too.
I think that he was outperforming him. Now, this could hurt him. I think that it wouldn't have surprised me if Quentin Ewers was the second quarterback taken in the draft, and Carson Beck is a guy that drops in the upcoming draft. Obviously, it's a long season. You're not really playing a lot of good teams. You got to wait till the playoffs start and you really get tested. Yeah. But I think that as long as Quentin Ewers is out, I think that hurts him a lot. Where he could drop down here's the thing. If he misses another week or 2 and Arch continues to play the way that he is playing, I don't see them benching Arch. And a lot of us were talking about this year, because Quentin Ewers has gotten hurt before. And, we said that if he got hurt, it might be over, because he might not get that job back. And so, Arch had a really, really good performance the week prior. I think he completed 16 passes for over 200 yards, and he had 5 touchdowns. He ran 1, he threw 4.
Didn't really play nobody though.
Yeah, correct. But at the same point, like what we said before, right? You're not playing anybody. You got to go. If he would have came out there and struggled against a bad team, people would be saying, okay, you know what? What's going on? He struggled, but he came out and he dominated, right? He looked like he was a pro. And then last week, again, a very, very good performance. His anticipation, time in the pocket, arm strength, everything. So I think that if he plays another week or 2, I don't see Quentin Ewers, getting back out onto the field. I think it's going to be Arch's show until Arch gets hurt, and then Quentin will come back in. But I just don't see it, unfortunately, for Quentin Ewers. Hopefully he can get back next week.
Well, we've been talking about college, but we got to talk about the Giants. I got to get through the chat, but we are here because we are playing the vaunted Cleveland Browns, and we're
all right. 1. We're going for 1.
We're going for 1. We're going for that first win. I want to get to these chats real quick here on some of these people that put that Brian Burns will get his first sack before Kayvon Thibodeau. It says Blackbird. Evan says Bad Dog liked him until he threw the challenge flag week 1. I don't remember what that. I don't know what that's about. OG says, let's see. Name one show that has been real about the Giants besides this one. I'll wait. Tim has been telling the truth about the Giants since day 1. After year 6 now, you're all saying the Giants suck. Well, that's because we're negative. we got Big Mike coming in, and of course we got to give a big shout out to Mike, who got married last weekend. So big!
Oh, congratulations, Mazel tov.
Congratulations,
Mike. Is that Tim Meadows in the jersey? You do look like Tim Meadows a little bit there.
That was my man. Now, this is a Matt Harvey though. Dark Knight.
We have Evan saying Brian Burns was questionable going into today's game. How did he get hurt pulling up 0 sacks? And we also just had Rob with a photo from Twitter showing him trying to loosen up that groin. We got T-Brad in his house as always. The T-Brad says the sooner the Giants fans realize we are a second worst team in the league it would be better. Are we the second worst team in the league?
No, we are the number 1 worst team in the league.
Carolina's worse. Carolina's worse.
No. I'll tell you this. You might hate me for this. You might think I'm crazy. But them putting in Andy Dalton makes them better than us. We're gonna.
But the fact that they had to bench their number one draft pick, what is it, 17, 18, 19 games into his career, that's pretty bad. That's pretty. We got to put that in perspective. A franchise benching a guy, that's pretty bad.
So here's the thing when it comes to Bryce, real quick, because there's this, new thing, roll the dice for Bryce.
Oh God,
thing that's going
on. Stop.
That's the new thing that's going on. I joke around with it. I say it all the time because it makes me laugh. But look, Bryce was drafted into a very, very bad situation when it came to the Carolina Panthers. I saw a billboard or a thing that put up is that the Carolina Panthers have traded away more first-round picks than they've acquired. McCaffrey was a first-round pick. DJ was a first-round pick. Burns, he was a first-round pick as well.
Mm-hmm.
So more than they've acquired, right? They missed out on 2-1s last year from the Rams, and so they missed out on that. They didn't get a first-round pick back. I think they got a first-round pick for Moore, but not one for McCaffrey. So you draft the kid, and you gave away DJ Moore, and you brought in Adam Thielen and Jonathan Mingo, who, we talked about Tim heavily. That was a guy a couple of years ago that we liked, and that they liked and stuff like that coming out of Ole Miss. And it just hasn't gone. So then this year they go ahead and they beef up the offensive line and the interior, giving, Robert Hunt a big deal, signing Damian Lewis to a big contract, and then hoping Ekwonu takes a leap. Taylor Moton is a solid player. He's not the greatest, but he's a solid right tackle. I put him on the Illuminor type of level right now at this point in his career, and they're just not getting it going. And he got hit 64 times last year as a rookie. And so that's going to fuck with you a little bit. So I don't know what they're planning on doing. I really don't. I think it was smart because you don't want to fuck this kid up. But this is not their guy. The regime that's there, Dan Morgan and I don't know who the other guy that said Brian something. This is not their guy. They didn't draft him. So, I could see them very much moving on, from a guy like Bryce Young. And look, I'm not for it. But if they're willing to give him up for like a day 3 pick, and we can acquire him.
Oh, here you go, starting the rumors,
and have the.
Did he just really say acquire?
He's about to start the rumors, Rob. Don't do that. People are all over it already.
I had to because I just went on Twitter and now it's saying we should trade him for a day 3 pick.
Listen. Look, I'm not
started, Rob. Look at all these rumors.
Get rid of Jones. You acquire the and I don't necessarily think that stops you from maybe drafting somebody. But look, if it's not going to happen, obviously, and I don't want it to happen. But if you can acquire him for a day 3 pick, keep the rookie contract, reset it, because like you said, James. We win meaningless games that put us out of reach for somebody at the top spot. And so you got to view, is Bryce Young maybe in his, like where he's at, having a year of experience in a better spot than, maybe somebody that you're reaching for that should be a second rounder, but you're taking him in the first. You know what I mean? Like that's where you got to kind of base it off.
New York teams have been synonymous with fucking up the draft situation. I still go back to the Kristaps Porzingis draft with the Knicks. The Knicks won 2 meaningless games at the end of the season, and all of a sudden they started taking out the ping pong balls. And instead of us getting the opportunity to get Karl-Anthony Towns first overall, not that Porzingis was terrible, but we got stuck because we won 2 meaningless games at the end of the season. Stanley wants to know, what are your thoughts on Riley and Leonard? I'm going to give you a quick thought on Riley Leonard. It's the curse of Notre Dame. Look at Mary Hartman, Sam Hartman. Sam Hartman has this career. He should have came out. Probably wouldn't have spent a 2nd round pick. Instead, he wants to raise up his draft stock by going to Notre Dame. And we saw what happened then. And to me, Riley Leonard leaves Duke to go for the greener pastures, playing under the skies of touchdown Jesus. and it's the curse of Notre Dame and it's the curse of Notre Dame and the transfer portal. That's what I think it is right now. But we got to talk Giants. I keep seeing these Bryce Young's things. I love this. Bro, cut this man's mic off right now. I already did. Don't worry, I knocked him out. So we have this team we're gonna play today at 1 p.m. I've been saying it since training camp. The easiest way to go after the Giants and to beat the Giants is extremely simple. Run directly at Kayvon Thibodeau and run directly at Brian Burns.
You'll bring me right to my point, Sam. Keep
I'm
talking.
gonna bring you right to your point, James. I'm pulling around full circle. You go right at the edges. You don't have any fear. You just continuously run off tackle. Brian Robinson Jr. is still laughing because he's like, how do these motherfuckers miss me? You wait till you get in the second level. There's not much behind you in the second level outside of Okereke. Okereke did not have a good game last week. McFadden did play a lot of opportunities mopping up, but he's got to play closer to the line of scrimmage, more like the Blake Martinez type, like we've talked about before. But until the Giants can figure out how to stop the run game, you are going to have people like Foreman and Ford today probably going for $150 between the two of them. And then as soon as the Giants lull up, as soon as those safeties creep, you use the skill position players that you still have in Green Bay, because you do have a good wide receiving core in Judy and even Mr. Amari, but after everything he hasn't played well, and then you just go over the top, you beat your safeties deep, and then you turn around and you get some serious yardage. Offense is going to be the other issue, is the fact that you are going to, when we went up with what I refer to as an average defensive line in Minnesota, and James and I were there. Five sacks, 3 of them the quarterback ran into. The sack last week, Daniel Jones stepped into. But if you get pressure, and we know you get to Daniel Jones early, he is that quarterback that gets rattled. He is that quarterback. All of a sudden, he starts losing confidence. Stupid plays happen, like throwing back an interception that's run back for a touchdown. So the more, if do not establish your running game, you cannot. We've said this before about Daniel Jones, and I am so worried about Malik Neighbors, because if you continue. It's Daniel Jones. The red stripe man. You keep red striping Malik Neighbors, you are literally going to get this kid killed. He had 10 completions last week. I think he was targeted 16 times, and I believe it was only 6 for the rest of the team last week. It's going to be quite easy to figure out, you double Neighbors, because he's never going to find Slayton. He's never going to find Wan'Dale Robinson, and he's never going to find Jalen Hyatt, who may soon be working at Home Depot if he cannot get out of the doghouse of course, our friend Brian Dable. So it's a fairly simple game. It should be a very simple gameplay for the Giants. I think you run, and then you try to negate some of that rush. You hope that line for the Browns get a little bit over aggressive, and then you look for that play up the middle and try to go from there. But I still see this way uphill battle. Now, James, you have been waiting.
Why are you running?
You have been waiting for this point. You want to make this point. You want to make some point. Targeted 18 times last week. Yes, he was targeted 18 times, caught 10 of them. And
that's crazy.
People, not people in this chat. People.
That's crazy.
People are the luckiest people in the world.
That's crazy.
For those people that are sitting there and blaming Malik Neighbors for the drop last week, and I keep saying this over and over again, the venerable Bill Parcells said many times, you do not lose a game on a single play. There are 5 or 6 other plays in that game that you need to make so you do not lead up to that single play. So to blame, and also making sure you got a kicker. So especially if your kicker's hurt on Friday and you don't bring one on your fucking roster and you still only carry 51 men on your roster. But if you don't, their kicker was hurt.
They didn't punt one time.
They didn't punt once.
Not one time.
How many times did Jamie Gillian punt?
And they got beat by a rookie quarterback and Sam Darnold.
Didn't we punt last week 3 times?
Yeah, but Washington didn't punt once.
Wait,
You
once.
punt once and you kick 7 field goals. I got a problem with you.
So the rookie.
Okay, James. So James wants to here.
Oh my God,
James, you have been waiting since yesterday. This has got to be good because you literally called me.
Oh yeah.
It's got to be good. He's not in the basement. He's actually in a room.
He's
Word.
got his notes.
He's got paper
and all
he
that.
wrote it down.
He wrote it down. After this, guys, everyone that's in the chat and everyone that's following us on Twitter and every place else, after this, we will start doing the guess the score. And like I said, this week we are giving away the Eli Manning replica ring out of my
Boom.
box, out of my season ticket holder box. So we're going to be giving that away. And then we're also going to throw in, because James and I have a lot of them, we're going to also throw in the 100th anniversary
Oh, the coin. The coin. Where's my coins at?
we have, James and I are at the game with the coins, and we had to walk them from one end of the stadium to the other, so we could get to the suite. And I laugh because every time we walked by someone with a coin that we're handing them out, they're like, "Here, you need a coin."
I do.
You get a coin. You get a coin.
That's exactly right. So the next thing I know, I have this coin, and I have this coin, and then I have this coin, then I have this coin, and then
That's
I
right.
have more coins. I mean, we got a lot. All right,
The
James.
Black Luigi. Give me all them coins.
Did you get a coin yet? No, I didn't. Can I have one?
Like, oh, thank you so much. My kids are going to love this. Give me that coin.
Hey, did you get a coin? No, please.
Yep. So we were going to give the James. You still have the wristband on? Or the wristband? Yep, James is still wearing the wristband from the suite.
It'll probably fall off this week, though.
I would hope it would fall off soon, because it's been 2 weeks now.
I got a strong immune system, man. Hey,
And since we were sitting in the suite with the mimosas,
look at that. Bong.
we're sitting in the Players Club waiting for the big. And like I said, we've said it before. It was a beautiful day.
It was.
Degrees,
Really
no
was.
cloud in the fucking sky. 100th anniversary. All the players there. We are literally sitting in that suite. James and I. We are having a ball. We got free jewelry. We got the free.
Oh, word. Yep. Word.
We got everything in the suite, sitting there, air conditioned, watching the game, eating the wings. And then I said to James, I looked at him at 106. I said, the day just got fucking ruined because they kicked off.
It's like, oh, we're here to watch a game. I forgot.
And listen, and you forgot there was a cloud in the sky there.
There was one cloud in the sky. It was the black cloud, known as the curse of Eli Manning.
It was number 8.
It was not. All right, James.
All right.
Hit the like.
All right, good people.
We're gonna pontificate.
Just give me 3 minutes here. Be real quick because I got this written down.
There you go. There you go. I'm gonna put you. Can I put you in the big box? Hold on. Go ahead, James.
So we just signed defensive end this offseason. There's a big acquisition. Brian Spider-Man Burns, Miles Morales. $120 million, right? Still early, I'm not gonna kill him, because it's still early, so he may turn it around. I want to bring us back to a year when we were actually really good, not when we were lucky good in 2022. Go back in the DeLorean to 2016. 2016, when we were 11-5, that was when we made the playoffs, and that was the boat trip game, the playoff game. However, that offseason, the last really good GM we had, Jerry Reese, which a lot of people dump on, he actually made some moves in the offseason that bared fruit right away. I forgot this. I had to look it up. Some of you guys may remember as soon as I run this off. I'm going to run off some names. These are the guys Jerry Reese signed in the offseason. Olivier Vernon, who we traded to Cleveland, which is ironic because we're playing Cleveland today. Olivier Vernon, defensive end. Damon Snacks Harrison, tackle, defensive tackle. And Janoris Jackrabbit Jenkins. Those are his 3. What up, Greg? Those are his 3 big acquisitions. Now, he did pay $190 million around for them. That was big money. Almost $200 million for 3 guys, right?
Yeah.
But we just paid $120 million for 1 guy. And I know, pay scale moves through the years, yada, yada, yada. But $70 million more, we had 3 guys. We just paid $120 for 1 guy. You're supposed to be a difference maker. Cool. That year in 2016, we had the top ranked 3rd defense in the entire league. Number 3. We were holding opponents to 14.1 points per game. Now, we were only scoring like 20. But when your defense is that good, you could get away with it. We had Eli Manning playing good that year, playing clutch ball. OBJ had another big year. And Janoris Jenkins actually made the Pro Bowl that year. So, and last thing, I just want to run off some stats for our 2 defensive ends for that year. This is the bar, and this is the main point I want to get to because, I'm a very meat and potatoes guy. I see with my eyes and ears. I don't need analytics to tell me what it's going to happen on the third moon of the month when the guy has potatoes instead of French fries and how he's going to play and if yada, yada, yada. I don't care about that. But for the sake of argument, because I want to put some facts behind my feelings and why I give Casper so much grief. Olivier Vernon, who we signed to a big deal that year, his first year here, he had 8.5 sacks, might have been 9. I might be wrong on that because I see different things on different websites. He had 8.5 sacks that year.
63
He
total.
had
8.5 sacks,
63 total tackles, but 44 of them were solo. Again, we were a top 3 defense that year. That means everybody was tackling, including the ends, because we were stopping the run too. The other guy on the other side, fan favorite guy we all love, 8 Fingers. I call him 8 Fingers. His name is Jason Pierre-Paul, and I say that with affection. 8 Fingers.
He got paid that year too.
8 Fingers played in 12 games, started 12 games that year. He had 7 sacks. Our two defense.
Before you
get
him on credit, that was also the Eli Apple draft.
But you know what? We got to stop doing that. And hold on, Tim. We got to stop doing that. Because guess what? Eli Apple is still playing in this league, and Eli Apple played in the Super Bowl as a starting corner on the Cincinnati Bengals. So we may not like him, much like the Evan Ingram thing. We got to get out of our feelings about certain players. Can the guy play? Is he still playing? Could we use him now over Cordell Flott? Who would you rather have, Eli Apple or Cordell Flott in their prime? Let's be serious.
Eli Apples also had the big pass interference penalty that had Cleveland lose the game 2 years ago.
He was a starting cornerback in the Super Bowl.
You got to bring all the points though when you talk about Jerry Reese, but that was also the same draft that was Sterling Shepard.
Another guy that he brought in he brought in Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, which I'm not going to get onto, but what I'm saying is Jerry Reese's acquisitions actually bared fruit. Now, it was only for 1 year because after that we fell off. Olivier Vernon got hurt. A lot of other things happened. People didn't play up to their potential or their contracts. I get it. But when we went out and spent a lot of money, we saw the benefits of that. We made the playoffs. We were a good team, a really good team, not a fake one that like in 2022. So last point is the bar is set for the Ghost Brothers. If a guy with 8 Fingers who only started 12 games gave you 7 sacks, and I don't have his total tackle number, sorry about that. But if a guy with 8 Fingers can give you that, and then another free agent acquisition in Olivier can come in here, give you 63 tackles, 44 solo, 8.5 sacks, and have an impact, then I expect no less for a guy who's a first-round pick, who's everybody's telling me, again, I don't know who Brian Burns is. I'm going to keep saying that. I'm going to beat a dead horse. I've never heard of this guy. I watch a lot of football. Everybody's telling me he's so good, he's so good. I've never heard of Brian Burns. And again, if he was so good, why would Dan, Joe Shane's best friend, give up his best defensive player when he just drafted a young quarterback? It's not for us to figure out. But that's the bar for the Ghost Brothers. Now, there's a long way to go. This season, they actually have one extra game in 17. Back in 2016, it was only 16 games. So these guys actually have 15 more games to go, including today, to prove themselves. I expect to see at least 8 sacks apiece, and that total tackle number has got to come up. That's the bar. So you guys don't just think I'm hating or we're just making fun of them with the Ghost Brothers and all of that. There is a bar that was set, and it's Olivier Vernon and JPP in 2016. Just keep that in mind because I see a lot of people doing videos about how, well, Brian Burns is having an impact that you can't see on the field. We have to stop doing that. If I'm watching the games and I can't really see what you're doing, you're not having that much of an impact. You're just not. It's not like watching Dexter Lawrence when you could see, oh, he's getting double teamed in the middle. I can see that. It's very simple. Sometimes in life, you know what one of my favorite phrases is at work and in life? Don't complicate Jell-O. You start adding fruit and coloring and doing all this other crap. No, it's very simple. Is the guy having an impact or not? Is he living up to his contract or not? And I had to look that up. I just wanted to say that. Thank you to my brother Tim and Rob for giving me a minute to say that. But Olivier Vernon and JPP, 2016, go look up their stats. Go look at our defense. Because if you look at it, there's supposed to be a lot of similarities here. We brought in a big acquisition. We got a veteran quarterback. We just drafted a big weapon. Neighbors is supposed to be OBJ. Daniel Jones is Eli 2.0. We brought in Vernon back then. We brought in Burns now. And we got Deontay Banks. We brought in Janoris Jenkins. Okay. This defense has looked like Swiss cheese. And our two defensive ends, they got to start showing up.
You also have to remember the year prior to that, the Giants, talking about Jerry Reese and some of his moves, because I don't think he gets enough credit. They also brought in Keenan Robinson. Keenan Robinson was not is probably not a well-known name in linebacker in Giants history, but they brought him in from Washington. He had a pretty good season in 16. He then got hurt in 17, but he was another guy that was more than a bit player for the Giants. I think he had like 80 something tackles that first season and started, I think, I don't remember how many games he started. It's like 6 or 7 games, but Jerry Reese did have at times the ability to bring in the right guys to fit. And we've talked about this before a million times, to fit the system. And I think one of the things that I always say about the Giants, I've been saying it over and over again, that the Giants to me are a cut and paste team. They bring in guys that don't really fit, and they're trying to paste them into a position, into a system they don't really fit in, because you have Shane Bowen. It made more sense for Brian Burns to be here when you had Wink. Shane Bowen,
yeah.
Like we've talked, we beat this dead horse ad nauseum. He has not been known to produce high quality secondaries. His first year as a defensive coordinator, they were 11-5 in Tennessee. They made the playoffs, but they had one of the worst defenses. He has the 2 Jim Schwartz years where Jim Schwartz came in to be his mentor and be his second set of eyes via Mike Bravel. The defense improves exponentially. Then the last year before he got fired, Schwartz goes to Cleveland. Bowen takes over again, goes back to the Tampa 2 bend no break, rushing 4, dropping his ends back in coverage. You just don't have, and everyone's going to talk about, his proficiency on the red zone, his proficiency in third down. But you also have to look at the proficiency as, is he winning or losing games? Because a lot of the games that they lost last year in Tennessee were either late breakdowns on the defense vis-a-vis the secondary and bad losses in overtime, especially that one in against the Colts. So you have a guy whose system I don't think fits the pieces and parts that we have. And we've talked about this before, James and I, millions of times. Joe Schoen, first meeting with Joe Schoen, first meeting with the entire team, Shane Bowen. It's on Hard Knocks. People can go back and watch it. Shane as Bowen right off the bat. What do you need to make this defense successful? And I have to give Bowen credit for this, because the first thing he said is, I need 2 linebackers. First thing, we've said it before, the first thing out of Joe's mouth, what about Brian Burns? It's like, okay, that's not what I need to be successful. Yes, we need a pass rusher. And I laughed because someone texted me, it was Dom, that he was somewhere on Twitter, and somebody said the Giants shouldn't draft a quarterback next year. They should draft an elite pass rusher. And I'm like, didn't we already do that at 5 2 years ago? And didn't we just bring some guy in from Carolina that's supposed to be elite? Make sure everyone, all right, guys, it is 11:38. Make sure everyone starts getting in their scores now. Your score, if you guess the score correctly at this Cleveland game with the Giants, you get this wonderful coin. Look at this coin. This coin is made out of plastic. This plastic coin.
It looks nice.
It looks nice, but it is made out of plastic. And also, you get the Eli Manning replica Super Bowl if you get the score right. So make sure you drop the score in. I want to get these scores right now from Rob. Oh, Smooch.
Oh, baby. Good morning.
Bye, baby. What's going on?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Give your score prediction
What's your score prediction?
For today?
Yeah.
for us.
Who are we playing?
The Browns.
Now, so it's brown uniforms against the blue uniforms.
27-10.
Who?
I like
27.
that.
She says 27-10 Browns.
We
I like that.
We have a question. We have a question from Mrs. R0P. We have a question.
Oh,
Tell- We have a question.
There's a question.
We have a question. Good morning. We have a question, and this question is all over the chat. How the hell do you put up with him?
How do you put up with it?
The dick's good.
Oh.
Play it.
Well, hey, there you go, Rob. There you go, Rob. Yeah, that's a good woman, right? That's right, Rob. Yeah.
She knows how to lie.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
She knows.
That's
how
right, Rob. Stick your chest out.
Go ahead. You can have a moment, Rob. We'll give.
Yeah, we gotta give him that. That's what's up. That's a good woman. Yeah, respect to your queen right there, man. Yeah.
You know what the best thing is, James? That's going to be a short. I got a new short to
You got Oh yeah. You please. That's great. I love that. That was so natural.
I got a new short to put up right now. Said it's going to be 23-21 Cleveland. Greg says 24-17 the Cleveland Browns. OG's got 27-13 Browns. Evans got 17-10. T-Brad 31-13. Will there be an Adoree sighting today? That would be actually a very good question. Jalen Drone says 24-10 Cleveland. Joe Reb's got the Giants losing this one 13-27. Jason's got a 21-10 Browns. Jennifer's got 17-6 Browns. We got Pale Rider coming in 24-13 Browns.
Pale Rider.
I love Pale Rider. Good movie. Underrated movie by Clint Eastwood. We also have Hung Dave says, Hung Dave, of course, is like Hung Rob. 27.
That's what she said.
Browns. And we got Daryl also coming in at 31-10 Browns as well. Rob, what's your score prediction for this game?
35-7 Browns.
Wow.
God, dog. Yo, come on. God, dog.
You're not even giving us a chance. Tell me why. Wait, I got 35-7. You got to tell me why you're not even giving us a chance.
One, our pass rush has been completely absent. And if you can't really get pressure on the Washington Commanders, I don't expect you to get pressure on what I would believe is a top 5 offensive line in football with the Cleveland Browns. I think that they're going to give Deshaun Watson a lot of time back there, and he's going to be able to find guys like Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy open. And I think he's going to, I don't think that he's this player, but I think he's going to put up like 270 yards, probably like 2 or 3 touchdowns. I think he's going to put up 3 total. Maybe he runs 1 in and he throws for 2, or he just throws for 3. And then I think we can't stop the run either. So So I think they're going to run. You know who's on their team? Gary Brightwell is on their team.
Oh, are you serious?
Yes. So.
Oh, he's going to score on us today. I should put that in a fantasy.
I believe Dalvin Tomlinson
Also for him. So, and I just think that from a defensive standpoint, I love Andrew Thomas, and I think that Andrew's going to do well against Myles Garrett. But I'm looking forward to that battle between those two. I would expect Garrett to beat Thomas, and I would expect Thomas to beat Garrett. Those are 2 all pros going at it. But you got other people, Zadarius Smith, once upon a time, when he was with the Vikings, was able to hit on Daniel Jones. Pause. So, and I just don't think, I just don't like our matchup on the DBs for us trying to hold up against these wide receivers. And I don't know what our wide receivers are going to do against these DBs. Denzel Ward is no slouch, very good player. So we'll see what happens. But 35-7, and I say it's a defensive touchdown, not an offensive touchdown.
Ooh.
James,
I like that.
James, what's your score?
Well, Rob, first let me tell you, brother, because we're from a different era. When your wife comes on and gives you the vote of confidence like she just did, you don't ever say pause 5 minutes after that. Forget that. All right. But you know what? I'm going with Mrs. RZOB. I'm 27-10. I like that. I like 27-10. I think we're going to score. We're going to go up early 7-0. Giants fans, every YouTube, and then they're going to run off like 24 straight. And then we'll get like a field goal in like the third quarter or something. But 27-10. I like her score. You gave good vibes. I'm going with that.
I'm going 16-13 because I don't think either offense can score. I'm going 16-13 Giants. Why? Because we're not playing Deshaun Watson from 4 years ago.
The massager.
We're playing the massager. While I think they're heavily advantaged in their wide receivers compared to our corners. I'm not overly enthused with either Ford or Foreman as their running backs. I don't think that either one of them are going to have the burst of Brian Robinson Jr. or Austin Eckler. I'll tell you this: if Brian Robinson Jr. had more finishing speed, because he doesn't, he reminds me a little bit of Wayne Gallman. The Giants would have lost that game 42 to whatever, because he would have gotten through that second level. So I'm not overly enthused. I don't think either offense gets much production. I think it's going to be a defensive game. I think the Giants are, to James's point, I don't think the touchdown is coming from the offense. I think it's going to be a defensive touchdown. I think we missed the extra point. But I'm not that Joseph's not a quality NFL kicker, but his best season was 3 years ago in Minnesota. I think we're gonna have some problems with the kicking game, but I do think we get that defensive touchdown late, and the Giants take this one 16-13.
I would like to
go ahead, bro.
The last 2 weeks, the quarterbacks that we've started against are 22 of 22 for over 200 yards to start the game. Combined.
Hey, I got a good question for you guys in the chat. What will we see first? What will we see first? A Jalen Hyatt catch or a Kayvon Thibodeau sack?
Ooh. I'm gonna go
Kayvon
Thibodeau sack because Jalen can't get on the. I love Brian Daboll. We have packages. We have certain packages. Right.
We all have packages, Brian.
And 5 minutes ago, you guys find out I got a nice package.
His packages include.
I set you up for that, Rob.
You did. His packages include latte
and I delivered
with no sugar. So Jalen wants you around and get me a coffee. That's his first overall package. We all got some other. We got Blackbird going 1916 G-Man. I'm putting my fan hat on. Made for Giants 34-17. Jennifer says, wow, Tim, you feel okay? Yeah, I actually feel okay. Mr. Belford says, Giants upset this one.
I don't know, Jeff. He's looking a little green, Jennifer. I don't know.
Because I got my lead
that was a New York Giants, McKinney jersey, and then he threw up all over it and turned green to the Packers.
All I'm going to say, I've said this over and over again, especially for the people that are unhappy with my McKinney choice.
Know what the difference is between you and me? I make this look good.
That's my problem. That's my problem. Oh, Rob put on the sunglasses. Okay, Rob, you know when those sunglasses go on, you go off. You know that. We got made by Giants 34-17 with the Browns. Let me see here. Let's see here. Jordan Ankins is the tight end. I actually would start him. If you have a fantasy league, I would run out and because
former Giant.
I doubt he's on any team right now. I mean, so if he's on, I don't think he's on any fantasy team as we speak. I see him 8 catches and 110 yards against these Giants.
Yeah, we're the get right game.
We are the get right game. All right, we gotta head out of here because I got some stuff I gotta do before Malik plays at 1. I mean, the Giants play at 1. I'd pick him up. I would go out and get the guy because, like I said it yesterday that. I said it last week that I was concerned that the 464-year-old Zach Ertz was going to have some type of game, and what he had 4 catches for 64 yards. So I think Jordan would be available.
By the way, Tim, you had it right the first time.
What's that?
Malik plays at 1.
No, yeah, Willis.
No, Malik Davis.
Willis. There's only one Malik, and he plays at 1:00. To James's point, Malik is a good Catholic Christian or whatever. I think he's Christian kid.
He is.
Won't sit there and disparage the Titans. Won't say that this is this is a revenge game. Won't get into any of that. And we've said this before. People always say, does God watch football? Well, look at that Tim Tebow season in Denver. There was that game in Miami when they were down 13 with like a minute and a half left, and look what happened to that game. There was no way that they should have won that game without some type of divine intervention. You have Malik, who 3 weeks ago got traded from Tennessee to Green Bay. I jokingly said on one of the streams, watch Jordan Love get hurt and Malik have to come in and play. And then what happens? He goes 12 for 14 for 121 for a touchdown, another 40 yards rushing last week. He goes back to the team that drafted him, to the team that told him, you are not a running quarterback. You have to stay in the pocket. He had a quarterback in Ryan Tannehill says, I am not here to be a mentor for Malik Willis. I'm here to compete for the job. Who then the following year, when they drafted Will Levis, said, Ryan Tannehill comes out and says, I'm going to do everything I can to mentor this kid and make him successful. And then all of a sudden, all the crap he had to put up with Mike Vrabel, then turns around and goes to Matt LaFleur, goes back to Tennessee. If there is a if we have to pick a divine intervention game, I think this is going to be the game. I have this weird feeling that Malik is going to I don't know. I just have this weird feeling it's going to be like 24-17. And the Titans are going to go 0-3.
Hey, Josh Myers, Pepto-Bismol, brother. All right, Pepto-Bismol. Don't be throwing up on no footballs. Okay,
that was funny.
Okay, Josh.
That for those that do not know, the center, and this has actually happened 2 weeks in a row now. The Malik on a third down play on 3rd and 10 ran the ball instead of going back and throwing it. He came off the field, and Matt LaFleur looked at it and said, why did you run it? Why didn't you throw it? And he goes, well, my center threw up on the football. And he's like, I didn't really feel comfortable throwing a vomit ball. So I was like, yeah, okay. So hopefully he said it's allergies, which is kind of difficult that when you have when you
playing on grass.
Tim is that an Xavier McKinney jersey? I'm his uncle. I have the same jersey. Malik was our quarterback in high school, and our colors were green. Yes, those that do not know, Xavier McKinney played high school football with Malik Willis.
Wow. Now that's interesting.
I did. I knew. What's funny? I actually knew that. But yes, if he is if you're Omar, you're his uncle. He needs to come on the show. I mean, look, I got my McKinney on. I'm always repping. So we're gonna have Omar have McKinney come on the show. You need to have Malik come on the show.
Omar coming.
But yes, it is. Yes, I did know they did play high school football together. All right, R0B, what's your final thought of the day before this lovely Giant game? And he's evidently looking for more information.
Am I allowed to play something?
Sure, if it's not bad, sure.
No, it's not like graphic or anything.
Okay.
Like that. All right, here we go.
It's a kid's show.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready. Because the tsunami is coming. And that is the Cleveland Browns. and the wall of the water will hit landfall next week on NFL Prime Time. And it will be the end of Daniel Jones, Joe Shane, and Brian DeBall. Enjoy the games, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great Sunday.
Chill Daddy wants to know, why are you wearing a Green Bay Packers jersey?
Because he can!
Because, thank you. Thank you. Because I can. And Omar says, yes, we are super excited. I'm excited for Malik.
And if you want to know, because it matches his hat, damn it.
You know what? Actually, I thought about that. Actually a pretty good combination. Got my alcohol ready and some gummies.
Oh, you're going to need that, Jen. You're going to need that.
Never mind. That's
happy endings versus.
I was going to say some of us need to get the suppositories ready because we're going to need it after this game.
Let's see. Big Rob is a big Jalen Daniels fan. Did you know that, Tim? You're a
Jalen Daniels fan.
You mean he meant Jaden?
You mean Daniel Jones?
I don't know. Love my online Big Blue family. Peace out. JPP had a pick 6 in 2016 as well. Yeah, a guy with 8 fingers.
8 fingers
had a pick 6. You're right. I forgot about that. You're right about that. That's a good thing. And Big Greg says, love my online Big Blue family. Peace. All right, James, what's your final thought? We got to get out of here.
Real quick, final thought. I'm a big optimism guy. You know, world is filled with negativity. We should all keep some hope and optimism. That little tidbit of advice: you can pack all of the hope and optimism you want in your survival pack, but you better bring a machete for a slice of reality. And I think we're getting to the point where it's like, this game is going to tell us a lot. We're going to know after this game exactly like where the season is going, what the game plans, because the next 5 weeks, it don't get any easier after Cleveland. We got to turn right around and play them girls on Thursday. So be hopeful, be optimistic, but pack all of that in your book bag, but keep a machete for a slice of reality. Some of us still need that. Love y'all.
Be prepared for this team to go 0-17.
That would really be. I don't want to go 0-17. I want to win at least one. Like seriously, like 0-17. That's bad.
There's 2 games on this schedule that are remaining.
Carolina,
and Week 9, which is the second game against Washington, are the only 2 winnable games that we have left.
They didn't even punt the first time. I don't know why. My boy is like, well, we're going to beat Washington the next time. I'm like, they didn't punt the first time.
And listen, we are undefeated. Tim, you might remember. I said we were going to win in London against Green Bay 2 years ago. We are undefeated. Listen, the crotch rocket might actually beat us in Germany. Okay?
Oh, wow.
The Carolina Panthers with Andy Dalton are better. And last thing I'll say, I want to say this because I thought about this the other day and it made me depressed. You guys realize at one point in time, we had Dalvin Tomlinson, Snacks Harrison, and Leonard Williams. And then after that, we had Dexter Lawrence, Dalvin Tomlinson, and Leonard Williams. We had 3 of those guys. I went back and I watched highlights from 2021. Our defensive line was amazing in 2021 when we had all 3 of those fuckers on the team. All of them. Or is it 2020? Maybe it was 20. No, it was 2020.
Well, they were amazing during the 7-2 start. They were not amazing because I could tell you some of the games we were there.
No, I'm talking about to 2020. I'm talking about to 2020.
Okay,
when Dalvin was still here before he went to Minnesota.
Okay, I thought you said 2021. I was like,
yeah, I made a mistake. Okay.
Because I was like, they weren't that amazing at the end of that 2-5-1 finish. They were just running at Leonard like he wasn't even there.
Bro, it's depressing. It's depressing. Don't worry, guys. Elijah Chapman will save the day.
It's not depressing. It's not depressing. We are winning today. We're losing on Thursday. We're winning today. We're losing Thursday.
Tim, don't do it.
And you know what's gonna what the thing is if the Giants go 0-17, you know what's gonna happen?
They still won't draft a quarterback?
No, the Panthers will probably go 0-17 and will lose the first overall pick because of strength of schedule.
We have a higher strength of schedule than they do.
Yes.
Joe and Dan are best friends. Don't be surprised if Dan hits him. You want to give me a 1 and a 2 for Bryce Young?
So if Joe said, "Hey guys, have you ever heard of Bryce Young? We could trade for the quarterback, and we could take Will Johnson out of Michigan. He was working.
That sounds like a plan.
Holy shit, we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone and get a franchise quarterback, a franchise corner. Holy shit, guys! My name is Joe Zane, and hey guys, I'm gonna have a little tough sleeping tonight. This is John Mara, and Saquon Barkley, and I'm so upset about what's going on, but I just have faith in Joe Shane and Brian Dable, Bono to Bozo. We said it was going to happen. And, to all our fans in this 100-year anniversary, you guys are fucking happy because I know I am.
And on that note, don't forget to hit the like on the way out. This is Tim Seaver, Giant Straight Tech, powered by Online Big Blue LLC with R0B, with James Williams. Making sure you stay tuned for that Monday afternoon stream at noon As always, you better
Do the monkey with me.
do the monkey with me. Giants take this one.